Sometimes you can play the game really well, but if you don't follow the rules, you lose. It's the same way with driving. Break the rules, and you pay, sometimes dearly. So before we get to the finer points of safe driving practices, let's go over the basic rules. They weren't made up yesterday. They are based on over a half-century of experience with roads, the cars that drive on them, the people who drive the cars, and with what happens when things go wrong. Rules of the road cover signals, signs, pavement markings, and some rules for how we use the road. If everyone went in the same direction at the same speed, we might not need rules. But people want to go in different directions at different speeds. One way of keeping things under control is the use of traffic control devices. Everyone knows what this means. Go. This light lets us turn in any direction we want. However, if we want to turn left, we'll have to yield to any oncoming traffic. This says that we can turn left without worrying about oncoming cars. And this means stop, and stay stopped until it says go. At most intersections, it is okay to make a right turn after making a complete stop and making sure that no one is coming. Except where there is a sign prohibiting it. What about this? No, it doesn't mean speed up and try to get through before it turns red. In some places, we can be ticketed for being in the intersection when the light turns red. Yellow means caution, or stop unless we are too close to the intersection to stop and can easily make it through on the yellow. This means that we can turn in the direction of the arrow with caution. It usually appears just as a green arrow is ending, and we need to give way to any oncoming cars. This means that we can go through the intersection, but we need to look out for cars on the cross street who usually have this, which means stop, but then proceed if no one is coming on the cross street. Another way of controlling traffic is with signs that regulate it. This means the same thing as a flashing red light. A stop sign is always red and has 8 sides. It requires coming to a complete stop and staying stopped until the way is clear. Cars on the main road and pedestrians crossing the road have the right of way. Even if we've had to stop earlier, we still have to stop when we reach the sign. Some intersections have a 4-way stop, meaning that both streets have stop signs. The rule here is that the first car to stop is the first car to go. A complete stop means a complete stop. Rolling through a stop sign is a violation. It counts as much as a speeding ticket, and millions are written each year. This is a yield sign. We can tell by the triangular shape even before we can read it. Like a stop sign, it says we have to yield to vehicles on the street that we are approaching. But if no one is coming, we can continue without having to stop. This is a symbol that appears on signs to tell us things we cannot do, like no left turn, or no right turn, or no U-turn. This says that we can't go straight ahead. This sign tells us when traffic on a cross street is permitted in one direction only. Drivers have been known to overlook them. with embarrassing results. This pennant-shaped sign is sometimes used to mark no passing zones. It's usually on the left side of the road so that our view won't be blocked by the car ahead. These signs say which lanes let us go in which direction. This sign regulates speed. Any faster than 35, and we risk a ticket. Signs can also warn us of danger. Most are yellow, which generally means caution, and are diamond-shaped. They have symbols that warn of certain dangers ahead, such as curves in the road, including sharp curves, crossroads, traffic signals, where the road is about to divide, where the one-way street we're on is about to become two-way, where we merge with traffic on the main road, where other traffic merges with us, where the right lane is about to end, and places where pedestrians may cross. This warning sign is shaped like a house and tells us that we're entering a zone where there are likely to be children, like schools and playgrounds. This one tells us where they may cross the street. Some school zone signs flash warnings of lowered speed limits at certain times. What do you suppose this means? Right, the road can be slippery when it's wet. There are many other signs with symbols like these. Most are pretty easy to understand. Orange signs warn of construction zones. People who have to work close to passing traffic require and deserve our close attention. These signs warn of railroad crossings ahead. We're there. Some of these cross bucks have signs saying how many tracks there are. Some signs aren't intended to control traffic, but just give us information, such as which route we're on, and where routes go. Blue signs generally tell us about services. Brown signs generally tell us about places of interest. Another form of traffic control is pavement markings. These mark the edge of the road. White lines separate lanes going in the same direction. We can cross these dashed lines if we need to, but we shouldn't cross these. Yellow lines separate lanes going in opposite directions. We can cross a dashed line to pass another car if there is no oncoming traffic, but we can't cross these. We can't pass here because the solid line is on our side of the road. Now we can. Some lines run across the road. If we have to stop for a red light or stop sign, this line tells us where. And this crosswalk is reserved for pedestrians. It is illegal to enter it if someone is walking or about to walk across it. These are reversible lanes. They allow traffic in different directions at different times and on certain days. Sometimes the times appear on signs. Sometimes it's done with lights. The green arrow indicates lanes that we can use. The red X indicates lanes that we can't. This is like a yellow light. It means that the lane is changing from a green to a red X. A flashing yellow X is a lane reserved for turning. This indicates a center lane for left turns to be shared by traffic from both directions. We can enter only at the point we plan to turn, such as a shopping center on the left. There are some basic rules covering who must yield the right-of-way to whom. First, cars must always yield to pedestrians legally crossing the street. Cars crossing sidewalks must yield to pedestrians on them. Cars turning left must yield to oncoming cars going straight ahead. The car behind must yield to the car ahead, regardless of how quickly it stops. Cars entering or crossing a main road must yield to cars traveling on it. Cars must yield to emergency vehicles with flashing red or blue lights, whether they are approaching from the front or from behind. We need to pull as far off the road as possible. Emergency vehicles need lots of room to maneuver. Finally, cars must yield to school buses stopped to drop off or pick up children. Cars on the other side of the road must stop as well, unless it is a divided highway. And cars must remain stopped as long as the bus is there. Children may cross in front of the bus. There are some rules that regulate the lanes that we can use. Travel lanes are to travel in. It's against the law to stop because we're confused or want to let out a passenger or we're having car trouble. Drivers behind won't expect it. If we have to stop, we pull off the road. Backing in a travel lane is worse than stopping. It's illegal and very unsafe. If we miss a turn, we keep on going to the next street or exit. When we're on roads with more than one lane, we drive in the right lanes and save the left lane for passing. Well, we're finished for the day. No more rules of the road. Well, not exactly. There are rules for parking too. First, get close to the curb, well out of the traffic stream, no more than 2 feet from the curb. Check for signs that limit where and when we may park. Avoid parking near the corner or on a crosswalk. There's usually a sign or painted curb marking. And keep a good distance away from stop signs, as well as fire hydrants. There's usually a sign or curb marking showing where parking is prohibited. Many cities and states have their own individual rules. We can generally find out about these by looking closely at signs posted near where we plan to park. If we don't, we could be in for an unpleasant surprise. These aren't all the rules of the road. There isn't time to include everything, but they are the most important ones and the ones you need to know before you take to the road, which we'll do in the next lessons.